All right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We're back at it, your Pratt Pack. A little later than I would have liked to have been, but on the Golf Channel today, they re-aired Arnie. What a great documentary from Golf Channel Films, and it was narrated by Tom Selleck. And I remember watching it the very first time a few years ago. My children were a lot smaller then. But even they, as a young daughter and son, long after the great King Arnold Palmer roamed golf courses throughout this country, were captivated as their father spoke right along with Tom Selleck, explaining the greatness of Arnold Palmer. On a personal note, as we get ready for the Arnold Palmer Invitational at Bay Hill presented by MasterCard this weekend, I have to go back to a typical Sunday of my youth in 1973 that started years earlier by spending time at my friend's house, the Nemesaks, watching the game of golf, black and white television, Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, Don January, Billy Casper, and having Mr. Joe Nemesak explain to me some of the nuances of the game and what made the legend from Latrobe truly just that. In my lifetime, I have been many places and I have done many things. But I must tell you, 1973 will always be a very special year, because that was the year, and little did I know, that I was rooting for that man in the desert on that Sunday to capture Bob Hope, the Desert Classic. That's right, in the namesake of that former prize fighter from Cleveland, Packy East, Bob Hope. And Arnie did not disappoint, wearing that traditional sweater, looking truly like the icon that he was and will be even now, years after his death, for generations to come. Many years ago, when I was really in love with the game, not a player, but just someone that loves the game of golf and always has, I would spend many radio broadcasts with the great golf pros at Dick's Sporting Goods. And you hear me talk about Mr. Stack and their other brand, Golf Galaxy, at length at times. Why? Because I, like you, love to go into one of those incredible stores like the one we have right here in Monaca and look at all those shiny new golf clubs. And yes, the sun is starting to peek through the clouds as we speak, and that means another golf season is just about here. The month of March is winding down, when many will be teeing it up in golf leagues throughout western Pennsylvania, and many taking those annual trips to places like Myrtle Beach. And my friend George Johnson, recently retired from the United States Postal Service, getting ready to head to Dick's Sporting Goods today to buy a pair of new golf shoes. Why? Because he and his friends are going to be heading to that legendary place in North Carolina known as Pinehurst. I love talking golf with George, and we sit shoulder to shoulder, and we'll be talking about this one this weekend. And you know, if you're looking for something to kind of wipe away those winter blues, just tune into the Golf Channel, and it'll add a little ray of sunshine in your life. But we will come back with your headlines in a moment. But this one is directed towards Arnold Palmer. You know, I was so fortunate many times to interview him. And I must tell you, of all the people that I've interviewed in my life, and significant people too, no one has meant more to me than Arnold Palmer. And my great conversations with people that really knew him, spent time with him, and respected him. People like Mickey Graziani and Bob Ford. Many times I would have them on the radio show or ask them to do a little TV spot with me. And the reason was to talk about whatever the golf topic was at the time, or whether I'm out at Diamond Run visiting Mickey, or years ago out in Oakmont visiting Bob Ford. I always said, come on, you got to tell me a little bit about the king, about Arnold Palmer. And you know, brought the tears again in my chair watching Arnie. Just not because of what he did on the golf course, because a lot of those triumphs came when I was a very small child, but how years after he won that last golf tournament, he was always winning big outside the ropes, doing incredible things for charitable organizations and, of course, just people, because he was the people's champion and he was ours. He was Arnold Palmer. And Mr. Palmer, I know it's been a while since you've been gone, but this is a fact. Every time I go to Dick's Sporting Goods, Golf Galaxy, drive by, golf course, anything, I think of you. But I think of what you meant to America. I see an umbrella, I think of you. Arnold Palmer iced tea, half lemonade, half iced tea, I think of you. But one of the most significant times, as it was today, watching Tiger Woods, who Arnie was a big fan of, and I've always been a big fan of, teeing off at 8:23 a.m. at Bay Hill. And in case you're interested, right now, you got Patrick Reed, your leader, 3 under through 7, Billy Hurley III at 2 under through 4, Tiger Woods 2 under through 6, also at 2 under, Ryan Armour, Bubba Watson, and Ryan Moore. I think of you when I hear the birds in the morning. And of course, it just reminds me that you, somewhere in time, were listening to those same birds chirping as the sun was coming up and the fog was lifting off the golf course, and you were about ready to put that ball on the launching pad. And you have launched a lot of careers, and you continue to do that to this day. And I just want to thank you, sir, and tell you that there is still not a golf season that goes by that I don't think of the King. Golf Channel will have the coverage today at 2 o'clock, and then of course NBC takes over the weekend. But there is nothing better to sit back with a Palmer and enjoy the Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard. And to Doc Geffen, for many years, his right-hand man, thank you, sir, for always returning my phone calls and always giving me the time of day. And for that, you will always be a significant part of your Pratte Pack. Ladies and gentlemen, back with your headlines in a moment at the home office, your Pratte Pack on a Thursday, March 15, 2018. Good morning.